How much space does a human being truly need to live? For most people on Earth, the answer can be measured in a handful of rooms, perhaps a garden, if fortune allows. Yet at the summit of global wealth, the scale of what we call home begins to defy both biological necessity and architectural logic. We are speaking of properties with 20, 30, or even 60 bedrooms. Residences equipped with private cinemas, bowling alleys, automated beauty salons, and garages capable of housing 100 automobiles. Estates such as the one in Bel Air, a mega mansion spanning more than 9,000 square meters, or Antilia in Mumbai, a billion-dollar residential skyscraper occupied by a single family of 5. At first glance, this appears to be nothing more than excess, a whimsical indulgence by individuals with more money than they could ever reasonably spend. But if we dig beneath the marble facades and infinity pools, we uncover something far more fascinating, a deeply complex psychological need. Today, we will explore the mind behind architectural gigantism. Why do the ultra-wealthy build homes so vast they could lose themselves inside them? Is it status, isolation, or perhaps a silent struggle against mortality itself? Welcome to Gilded, Conspicuous Consumption and the Veblen Effect. To understand a 20-bedroom mansion, we must first understand a sociological concept known as conspicuous consumption. The term was coined by economist Thorstein Veblen in the late 19th century to describe a very specific behavior, purchasing expensive goods not for their practical utility, but to publicly display wealth and social status. In a conventional market, when the price of something rises, demand tends to fall. It is one of the most basic laws of economics. Yet with what economists call Veblen goods, the opposite occurs. Their desirability stems precisely from the fact that they are prohibitively expensive. A 5-bedroom mansion is a luxury. A 20-bedroom mansion is a statement. And what exactly is that statement? I possess so many resources that I can afford to waste them. Consider it this way. Every additional bedroom that remains unused still requires cleaning, climate control, maintenance, and taxes. Economically speaking, preserving empty space is an act of pure inefficiency. And in the psychology of status, visible inefficiency is often the highest expression of power. It signals to the world, my wealth is so vast that even uselessness is affordable. The ego monument and the tragedy of the one. There is a remarkably thin line between building a home and building a monument to oneself. When developer Niall Niami conceived the one in Bel Air, his objective was not to create a comfortable family residence. His goal was to create the largest and most expensive urban home in the world, with an intended asking price of $500 million. The psychology behind projects such as the one borders on architectural megalomania. Architecture shapes behavior. Space influences human interaction. When you design a house with 21 bedrooms and 42 bathrooms, yes, twice as many bathrooms as bedrooms, you are no longer prioritizing intimacy. You are attempting to project your internal sense of scale onto the physical world. And herein lies the paradox of space. The larger a home becomes, the less likely meaningful human connection becomes within it. Colossal spaces do not bring people together. They disperse them. The story of the one ultimately ended in spectacular fashion, with bankruptcy, mounting debt, and a forced auction sale for less than half of its anticipated value. It became the embodiment of a profound psychological miscalculation, the assumption that the market will always validate the size of one's ego. When architecture becomes completely detached from human scale, it ceases to function as a home. It becomes a floating museum of excess. A skyscraper for one family, The psychology of Antilia. If the one represents Hollywood's horizontal excess, Antilia in Mumbai stands as the ultimate expression of vertical ambition. Owned by industrial magnate Mukesh Ambani, this 27-story structure does not house a corporation. It houses a single family. At this point, the psychology of 20 bedrooms no longer seems sufficient. Antilia reportedly employs approximately 600 staff members to keep the residence functioning around the clock. It contains 3 helipads, a private theater seating 50 guests, a garage for 168 vehicles, and perhaps the most psychologically revealing feature of all, an artificial snow room designed to escape India's oppressive heat. Why construct such a massive vertical domain in one of the most densely populated and unequal cities on Earth? From a psychological perspective, Antilia functions as a fortress of selective isolation. Once wealth reaches dynastic proportions, the outside world increasingly appears unpredictable and uncontrollable. The mega mansion evolves into a self-contained ecosystem. Its owner no longer needs to leave home to experience entertainment, culture, recreation, or even climate variation. The entire world has been recreated within private walls. Emotional emptiness and hedonic adaptation. There is a psychological phenomenon that helps explain why human beings quickly stop appreciating the things they once desperately wanted. It is called hedonic adaptation. This is our brain's tendency to return to a relatively stable level of happiness regardless of positive or negative life events. When someone purchases their first 3-bedroom home, they experience a surge of satisfaction, accomplishment, and excitement. But within months, that environment becomes normal. For billionaires, hedonic adaptation can become an insatiable force. If a conventional mansion no longer stimulates the brain, the only apparent solution is escalation. More square footage, more rooms, more extravagant amenities. The pursuit never truly ends. Harvard psychiatrist and scholar of wealth, Dr. Robert Coles, observed that children raised in extremely affluent households often develop a distorted perception of both space and relationships. When family members occupy separate wings of enormous residences, physical distance begins to shape emotional distance. In many cases, 20 bedrooms become physical barriers against vulnerability. In a house of that scale, it is entirely possible to avoid encountering another person whenever you choose. You can avoid conflict, but in doing so, you also avoid spontaneous connection, the very foundation of authentic human relationships. The Cathedral of the Self. For most of human history, humanity's greatest architectural achievements were built in service of something larger than the individual. The pyramids honored divine kings, cathedrals honored God, palaces embodied the authority of empires. The largest structures in society were rarely personal. They represented a collective belief. But in the modern age, something remarkable has happened. As traditional institutions have lost influence in many parts of the world, the individual has increasingly become the center of the story. And nowhere is this shift more visible than in the rise of the mega mansion. Viewed through this lens, many of these homes are not merely residences. They are monuments to personal identity, private cathedrals dedicated to a single life. Consider the language often used to describe them. The largest, the most expensive, the most exclusive. These are not descriptions of comfort. They are declarations of significance. The building itself becomes a statement. This life mattered. In psychology, human beings possess a deep need for symbolic immortality, a desire to believe that some part of ourselves will endure beyond our limited time on Earth. For some, that legacy takes the form of art. For others, scientific discoveries. For others still, children, institutions, or philanthropy. But for a small number of individuals, legacy is expressed through architecture: stone, glass, steel, and sheer scale. The mansion ceases to be a place where life happens. It becomes the story itself, a physical attempt to transform wealth into permanence, to convert success into something visible, something tangible, something that might outlive its creator. And perhaps that is the deepest irony of all. The larger the monument becomes, the more it reminds us of the one thing it cannot overcome: time. In the end, the psychology of megamansions reveals an uncomfortable truth about human nature itself. Constructing a billion-dollar residence or a home with more bathrooms than one could use in a month is not fundamentally an engineering challenge, nor an architectural one. It is an attempt to answer an existential question through material means. We search for permanence in concrete, steel, glass, and gold. We seek absolute control. We seek immortality. We hope to leave a mark upon the earth so immense that the world cannot ignore the fact that we were here. Yet history has demonstrated, again and again, that no matter how high the walls we build may rise, the most difficult space to fill remains the one within ourselves. If you enjoyed this psychological exploration of architecture, wealth, and status, be sure to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. If you had unlimited wealth, would you build a 20-bedroom mansion? Or would you choose a different path? Until next time.